Hi everyone, welcome to this second session on the last module of Issues That Matter. In the first session, we tried to have a brief idea about refugees, their problems, and Tibet. We also discussed the short poem by Tenzin Zunde with which the extract begins. In this session, we'll go through the text of the essay. In the very outset itself, the author presents the central theme of the study. It says that the educational and economic opportunities and the perception of ethnic identity of refugees depend on their experience of refugees. So what is this experience of refugees? Experience of refugees comprises both pre-migrational experiences and post-migrational experiences. So experience of refugeeism is therefore a combination of a sum total of the pre-migrational experiences and the post-migrational experiences. The pre-migrational experiences refer to the experience they had in their native country before they migrate to a host country. It may include the physical and psychological persecution they faced from the majority community, the violence and trauma they had to encounter in their daily lives, the losses they have incurred, and the experience of immigration itself. Post-migrational experiences refer to the experience they have after reaching the host country. It may include poverty, starvation, lack of security and protection, persecution by the authorities of the host country, threats from the majority community, inequality and discrimination. To propose a solution for their problems, first we have to define and understand what their problems are. First, let's try to define refugee. The UN Convention on the Status of Refugees 1951 defined refugee as a person who, owing to a well-founded fear of persecution for reasons of race, religion, nationality, membership of a particular social group or political opinion, is outside the country of his nationality and is unable or owing to such fear is unwilling to avail himself of the protection of that country. This definition has three important points to be noted. First, a refugee is a person outside his or her country. Second, they are outside their country due to fear of persecution. Third, they do not get the protection of their native country. So the first and the second are clear more or less. Let's go to the third point. What do we mean by protection of the native country? If I am an Indian citizen, I have certain rights ensured by the Constitution of India. For example, the right to life and property. If someone encroaches my right, I can seek the help of the police or the judiciary or the government to protect my life and property. The state, the judiciary, the government and the police are duty bound to protect me because my rights are ensured by the Constitution and the government authorities have the duty to safeguard the Constitution. But refugees are not citizens. They do not have any rights and there is no government or authority to protect them. If they are persecuted, there is no one to whom they can run to for help. Hope you have got a clear understanding of the definition of refugees. Then let's try to understand their problems. You may see some of the problems faced by the refugees listed on the slide. They face trauma and stress, danger and isolation, persecution and losses, and most importantly, uprooting. They are uprooted from their native culture and transplanted elsewhere. They have to face all this because they are the people who live amidst violence and bloodshed. Every day they are woken up by gunshots and bomb blasts. They see dead bodies lying on the streets. They walk over human blood oozing out from the bodies of wounded people lying on the roads, writhing in pain. Death of the dear ones for them is a daily reality. They may be forced to witness the hooligans ruthlessly looting their houses and raping their wives, daughters, and mothers. Therefore, they flee their country, leaving everything aside, to a foreign country hitherto unknown to them. Everything there looks new and strange to them. Thus, they are uprooted. Being uprooted is a unique problem faced by the refugees. So far, we were trying to understand their problems. Now let's see what could be the possible solutions for their problems. 3 logically possible solutions are shown on the screen. Which among them is practically possible? Let's take it one by one. First, repatriation. Repatriation means send them back to their own countries of origin. For example, in case of the Tibetan refugees in India, send them back to China. In case of the Rohingyan refugees, send them back to Myanmar. Or in the case of the Syrian refugees, send them back to Syria. But will the countries take them back? Even if the countries are willing to take them back, will these refugees go back to those countries? If they go back, will their problems be solved? The answers to all these questions are negative. The countries will not take them back. They will not accept them. The refugees will not be willing to go back because they fled the country in fear of persecution. They don't want to live there any longer. And even if they go back, their problems will never be solved. Therefore, the first proposed solution of repatriation is not practically possible. The second is local integration. It means accepting the refugees as part of the host country. For example, giving Indian citizenship to the Tibetan refugees in India and Rohingyan refugees in India. This is what the Delhi High Court tried to do to some extent in 2017 when it issued a ruling asking the authorities to give passports to the Tibetan children born in India between 1950 and 1987. But will the people of the host country be willing to accept the refugees and treat them as their fellow citizens? Will the host countries be ready to take up the burden of feeding and protecting the refugees while they themselves are reeling in economic crisis? Will the people of the host countries be ready to accept the socio-political and cultural changes caused by the influx of large number of refugees? Even though some countries have kept their doors open for refugees, most countries do not. That's what we see in Brexit. That's what is reflected in the foreign policies of the Trump administration. That's what we see in our Citizenship Amendment Act of 2019. Therefore, the second proposed solution of local integration is also practically difficult. So let's try the third, resettlement in a third country. It means taking the refugees to another country which is neither the host country nor their native country and settle them there. Now the question is, which country is willing to accept them? So far in my knowledge, no country has expressed such a willingness. Therefore, the third proposed solution of resettling in a third country also does not seem possible. So refugees across the world stay in refugee camps which are worse than barracks and prisons. That's all for this session. Next session, we'll try to understand the nature of refugee population and their problems in comparison with immigrants and ethnic minorities.